The psychology of personal boundaries. Have you ever said yes when you really wanted to say no? Have you ever agreed to something just because you didn't want to disappoint someone? Or stayed silent when someone crossed a line because you wanted to avoid conflict? If so, you're not alone. Millions of people struggle with personal boundaries. The strange part is, most don't even realize it. They think they're simply being kind, helpful, easygoing. But over time, something begins to happen. They feel exhausted, resentful, taken for granted. Not because they're bad people, but because they've taught others that their needs always come last. This is where boundaries become important. Many people misunderstand what boundaries actually are. Some believe boundaries are about pushing people away. Others think boundaries are selfish, or rude, or unloving. The truth is almost the opposite. Healthy boundaries don't destroy relationships. They protect them. They help people understand what is and isn't acceptable. They create trust, respect, and emotional safety. Today we're going to explore the psychology behind personal boundaries, why they're so difficult for many people, why confident people set them without guilt, and how learning this one skill can completely change your relationships, your confidence, and your peace of mind. Let's begin. Number 1. Boundaries teach people how to treat you. Here's a truth many people never hear. People don't just learn about you from what you say. They learn from what you allow. Imagine someone interrupts you every time you speak. The first time, you ignore it. The second time, you stay quiet again. The third time, nothing changes. Eventually, that behavior becomes normal. Not necessarily because the other person is trying to disrespect you, but because you've unintentionally shown that you're willing to accept it. This happens everywhere. At work, in friendships, in families, and in romantic relationships. Every time you consistently tolerate something that makes you uncomfortable, you're quietly teaching people that it's acceptable. Boundaries change that. They communicate. This is okay. This isn't. Without boundaries, people are forced to guess. With healthy boundaries, everyone understands where they stand. Number 2. People-pleasing often comes from fear. Many people think people-pleasers are simply kind, and they often are. But psychology suggests something deeper. Many people struggle to say no because they're afraid. Afraid of disappointing someone. Afraid of being rejected. Afraid of conflict. Afraid of not being liked. So they say yes. Again, and again, and again, until one day they feel emotionally exhausted. The problem is, every yes, given out of fear usually becomes a quiet no to yourself. No to your time. No to your priorities. No to your peace. Healthy boundaries require courage. Because sometimes saying no means accepting that not everyone will be happy. And that's okay. You are not responsible for managing everyone's emotions. You are responsible for managing your own actions. That's a very important difference. Number 3. Guilt doesn't always mean you're doing something wrong. One reason boundaries feel uncomfortable is guilt. Imagine declining an invitation because you're exhausted, or telling someone you can't help this weekend because you need time to rest. Many people immediately feel guilty. They assume guilt means they've done something wrong. But emotions don't always tell the whole story. Sometimes guilt simply means you're doing something new. If you've spent years putting everyone else's needs before your own, setting your first boundary will feel uncomfortable. Not because it's wrong, but because it's unfamiliar. Think about starting a new exercise routine. Your muscles hurt. That discomfort doesn't mean exercise is bad. It means you're growing. Healthy boundaries often work the same way. The discomfort usually becomes smaller with practice, and the confidence grows stronger. Number 4. Respect starts with self-respect. People often ask, how do I get others to respect me? It's an understandable question. But here's a better one. Do I respect myself? Because the two are closely connected. Imagine someone who constantly ignores their own limits. Always says yes. Never expresses their opinions. Never protects their time. Never speaks up when something feels wrong. Over time, people begin expecting that behavior. Now imagine someone who is respectful but honest. Someone who calmly says, I can't do that today. I don't feel comfortable with that. I need some time to think. Notice something important. They're not attacking anyone. They're simply respecting themselves. Self-respect isn't loud. It isn't aggressive. It's quiet consistency. It's treating your own time, energy, and well-being as something valuable. And when you do that, other people are much more likely to value those things too. So far, we've talked about why boundaries teach people how to treat you, why people-pleasing is often driven by fear, why guilt isn't always a warning sign, and why self-respect is the foundation of healthy relationships. But we're only halfway there, because the next lessons explain why weak boundaries create resentment, why confident people don't confuse kindness with self-sacrifice, and why learning to say no can actually strengthen your relationships instead of hurting them. Number 5. When you never set boundaries, resentment begins to grow. One of the biggest myths about relationships is that constantly sacrificing for others creates stronger connections. Sometimes it does, but only when the sacrifice is a choice, not an obligation. Imagine saying yes to every favor, working late every time someone asks, always changing your plans to make everyone else happy. At first, you may feel like you're doing the right thing, but after weeks or months, something begins to change. You become tired, then frustrated, then resentful. The interesting part is this. The people around you may have no idea why. Why? Because you never told them your limits. From their perspective, everything seemed fine. This is why unspoken boundaries often turn into silent resentment. You expect people to notice you're overwhelmed. They expect you'll tell them if something is wrong. Both sides become disappointed. Healthy boundaries prevent that cycle. They replace silent frustration with honest communication. And honesty is always stronger than hidden resentment. Number 6. No is a complete sentence. Many people struggle with one simple word. No. Instead of saying, I'm not available, they say, I'm really sorry, but maybe if this happens, and then that happens, and if everything works out. They spend 5 minutes explaining something that could have been said in 10 seconds. Why? Because they're afraid a simple no will make them seem rude. But saying no respectfully isn't rude. It's honest. You don't have to invent excuses. You don't have to pretend you're busy if you're simply protecting your time. Sometimes the most respectful answer is also the simplest. No, I can't today. Thanks for thinking of me, but I'll pass. I appreciate the invitation, but I already have other priorities. Notice something. These responses are polite, clear, and confident. They don't attack anyone. They don't create unnecessary drama. They simply communicate a boundary. The more comfortable you become saying no, the more control you regain over your own life. Number 7. Boundaries reveal who respects you. Here's something many people discover only after they begin setting boundaries. Not everyone reacts well. Some people become upset. Some try to make you feel guilty. Others accuse you of changing. At first, this can be confusing. You may wonder, did I do something wrong? Not necessarily. Sometimes your new boundary simply exposes an old pattern. Think about it. If someone benefited from you always saying yes, your first no may feel inconvenient to them. That doesn't automatically make them a bad person, but their reaction gives you valuable information. Healthy people may be disappointed, but they usually respect your decision. People who constantly ignore your boundaries often expect unlimited access to your time and energy. Boundaries don't just protect your peace. They reveal the quality of your relationships. Number 8. Kindness without boundaries becomes self-neglect. Many people confuse kindness with self-sacrifice. They believe being a good person means always putting themselves last. But imagine trying to pour water from an empty glass. Eventually, there's nothing left to give. The same is true emotionally. If you're constantly exhausted, constantly overwhelmed, constantly neglecting your own needs, your ability to genuinely help others begins to disappear. Taking care of yourself isn't selfish. It's responsible. Healthy boundaries allow you to rest, recharge, reflect, and return with more patience, energy, and compassion. Think about the safety instructions on an airplane. Passengers are told to put on their own oxygen mask before helping someone else. Why? Because you can't effectively help another person if you've lost the ability to function yourself. Life works the same way. Looking after your own well-being isn't the opposite of kindness. It's what makes lasting kindness possible. A powerful truth about boundaries. Every healthy boundary sends two messages. The first is directed toward other people. This is how I expect to be treated. The second is directed toward yourself. My needs matter too. That second message is often the one people forget. Every time you honor your own limits, you strengthen self-respect. Every time you repeatedly ignore them, you quietly teach yourself that your own needs are less important. That's why boundaries aren't only about relationships. They're about identity. They're about deciding what kind of life you want to build. We've now explored why resentment grows without boundaries, why saying no is a sign of honesty, why boundaries reveal the quality of your relationships, and why self-care is not selfish. But the final lessons may be the most important of all, because they explain how healthy boundaries create stronger relationships, greater confidence, and a deeper sense of inner peace. Number 9. Healthy boundaries create healthier relationships. One of the biggest fears people have is this: if I start setting boundaries, people will leave. Sometimes that happens. But here's the important question. If someone leaves simply because you started respecting yourself, was the relationship healthy to begin with? Healthy relationships don't require one person to constantly sacrifice while the other constantly benefits. They require mutual respect. Imagine two friends. One friend always cancels plans at the last minute, always borrows money without paying it back, always expects favors. Eventually, the other friend finally says, "I value our friendship, but I can't keep doing this." That conversation might feel uncomfortable, but it also creates an opportunity for honesty, an opportunity for change. Real relationships grow stronger through honest communication, not silent frustration. Boundaries don't build walls. They build understanding. They help both people know what is expected, and that creates stronger trust over time. Number 10. You can be kind and still be firm. Many people think they have only two choices: be nice or be harsh. But there is a third option: be kind and firm at the same time. Imagine someone asks you for a favor you honestly can't do. Instead of becoming angry or making excuses, you calmly say, "I appreciate you asking, but I can't commit to that." Notice what's missing. No guilt, no hostility, no long explanation, just honesty delivered with respect. This is one of the strongest communication skills you can develop, because firmness without kindness feels cold. Kindness without firmness feels weak. But when the two come together, people usually understand exactly where they stand. And clear communication prevents many unnecessary misunderstandings. Number 11. Every boundary strengthens your self-respect. Think about every promise you've made to yourself. Maybe you promised to exercise more, sleep earlier, spend more time with family, protect your weekends, stop answering work messages late at night. Every time you honor those promises, you send your brain an important message. My needs matter. My time has value. My life deserves balance. Over months and years, those small choices reshape the way you see yourself. You stop feeling guilty for protecting your peace. You stop apologizing for having limits. You stop believing that your worth depends on constantly pleasing everyone else. That interchange affects every area of life. Your confidence grows. Your communication improves. Your relationships become healthier, not because you've become selfish, but because you've learned to respect yourself. Number 12. The hardest boundary is often the one you set with yourself. We've spent this entire video talking about boundaries with other people, but there's another boundary that's just as important, the one you set with yourself. Can you stop checking your phone every few minutes? Can you avoid comparing yourself to everyone online? Can you say no to habits that are hurting your future? Can you protect your own goals from distractions? Self-boundaries require discipline. No one else can enforce them. Only you can. And they're often the most difficult boundaries of all, because they demand consistency. Every day, you're choosing between short-term comfort and long-term growth. People who build strong lives don't simply control other people's access to their time. They control how they spend that time themselves. That's where lasting freedom begins. Why so many people struggle with boundaries? The truth is, most people were never taught how to set healthy boundaries. Some grew up believing that saying no was disrespectful. Others learned that keeping everyone happy was the safest option. Some fear rejection. Others fear conflict. So they continue saying yes, even when every part of them wants to say no. The good news is this: boundaries are a skill, and like every skill, they improve with practice. Your first boundary may feel uncomfortable. Your second will feel a little easier. By the 10th, you'll begin noticing something. You're no longer living your life according to everyone else's expectations. You're living according to your values. And that's an incredibly freeing feeling. If there's one lesson I hope you remember from this video, it's this: every time you set a healthy boundary, you're choosing self-respect over fear. You're choosing honesty over resentment. You're choosing peace over constant pressure. That doesn't mean everyone will agree with your boundaries. Some people won't like them. Some people may even leave. But the people who truly care about you will learn to respect them. Because healthy relationships aren't built on unlimited access. They're built on mutual respect. Remember, you don't have to explain your worth. You don't have to earn the right to protect your time. You don't have to apologize for taking care of your mental and emotional well-being. Your boundaries are not punishments. They are guidelines that help create healthier, stronger, and more honest relationships. So the next time you're tempted to say yes when your heart is screaming no, pause. Take a breath. Ask yourself one simple question: am I saying yes because I truly want to, or because I'm afraid of disappointing someone? That single question can change your relationships. It can change your confidence. And over time, it can change your entire life. Because one of the greatest forms of personal growth isn't learning how to please everyone. It's learning how to respect yourself without losing your kindness. And when you master that balance, you don't just build better boundaries. You build a better life. Click the subscribe button, like, share, and follow for more.